The verdict here, Kelly, is that he's guilty on all charges. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez found guilty of 16 counts, including corruption, bribery, extortion, wire fraud, conspiracy, acting as a foreign agent, obstruction of justice. 16 charges in all, guilty on all of them.
This is a big deal, a huge fall from grace. He will be sentenced October 29th and could get decades in jail.
Gold bars stuffed in envelopes, cash hidden in clothing, and $70,000 in his wife's safety deposit box. This is not the scene from a money heist. This is the real-life trial of Senator Menendez, who is accused of bribery and corruption. Amid all the twists, Senator Menendez refused to testify. Let's uncover the groundbreaking details of how influence may have been the turning point in Senator Menendez's case. Senator Bob Menendez was born in New York, USA on January 1, 1954. The American politician was first elected as a Democrat to the U.S. Senate from New Jersey in 2006 and was re-elected thereafter. Menendez's parents were Cuban immigrants, and he was raised in Union City, New Jersey. While attending high school, Menendez became president and fought for students who couldn't afford school books. In 1976, Menendez graduated from St. Peter's College with a bachelor's degree in political science, becoming the first person in his family to attend college. In 1974, he was elected as a member of the Union City Board of Education and reshaped it for better outcomes, serving until 1978. Later, he studied law at Rutgers University and began practicing law privately in 1980. Bob Menendez became the mayor of Union City in 1986 after facing defeat in his first attempt in 1982. He remained mayor until 1992, after assuming a position in the U.S. House of Representatives. Menendez finally became a U.S. Senator in 2006, elected by John Corzine. From the beginning, Menendez held quite different political views in Congress. However, in foreign policy, Menendez stayed conservative and accepted the views of Republicans. While he allowed military operations in Libya and Syria, Menendez did not support the use of force against Iraq in 2002. Regarding domestic and environmental matters, Menendez was more liberal, supporting abortion, same-sex marriages, and immigration reform.
This is the third speech that I have stood up to give in a series that I intend to continue to give about what the Iraq War is costing us here at home beyond the immeasurable cost of lives, over 839 American lives lost.
Menendez's successful career and services were questioned when he was accused of receiving an expensive gift from an eye doctor and 3 businessmen alongside bribery charges. Aside from the current charges, Bob Menendez was previously accused of using his position to benefit his friend and eye doctor, Dr. Solomon Melgen. Personally and financially, in 2015, it was alleged that Menendez had received multiple gifts worth more than $1 million from Melgen in exchange for making changes in the Medicare billing dispute and securing visas for Melgen's foreign girlfriends. The prosecution argued that Menendez forced government agencies to help his friend Melgen. Menendez also backed a port security contract that would have benefited Melgen's businesses. Both Senator Menendez and Dr. Solomon Melgen were charged with multiple offenses, including conspiracy, bribery, and honest services fraud. Senator Menendez faced an additional charge of making false statements. Despite the charges, the senator was freed after his trial, which was considered a mistrial. The jurors claimed that Senator Menendez wasn't found guilty of any crimes and was free to return to his services. The accusations didn't end there. Soon, Senator Menendez was accused of using his influence and abusing his power to favor the Egyptian government. He and his wife, Nadine, were also accused of receiving lavish gifts and bribes from 3 New Jersey businessmen. According to Damian Williams, a United States attorney, and James Smith from the FBI, Senator Bob Menendez, his wife Nadine Menendez, and 3 New Jersey businessmen, including Will Hanna, Jose Uribe, and Fred Davies, were charged after participating in a long-term bribery scheme. According to the charges, Menendez and his wife obtained hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes from Hannah, Uribe, and Davies in exchange for Menendez's power to protect and empower them while also benefiting the Egyptian government. Menendez attempted to pressure a senior official at the U.S. Department of Agriculture to maintain Hannah's business monopoly in Egypt. He also tried to interfere with a criminal case opened by a New Jersey attorney general's office against one of Uribe's associates, alongside a federal criminal prosecution by the U.S. Attorney's Office against Davies. Damian Williams said, as the grand jury charged between 2018 and 2022, Senator Menendez and his wife engaged in a corrupt relationship with Wael Hannah, Jose Uribe, and Fred Davies, three New Jersey businessmen who collectively paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes, including cash, gold, a Mercedes-Benz, and other things of value, in exchange for Senator Menendez agreeing to use his power and influence to protect and enrich those businessmen and to benefit the government of Egypt. My office is firmly committed to rooting out corruption without fear or favor and without any regard to partisan politics. We will continue to do so. As per the indictment, Nadine and Bob Menendez started dating each other in February 2018, got engaged in 2019, and married in 2020. When they began dating, Nadine introduced her friend Wael Hannah to Menendez, who lived in New Jersey and was from Egypt. Hannah and his close relations with Egyptian politicians and was closely associated with Fred Davies, a real estate developer who had been giving bribes to Menendez for a long time, as well as Jose Uribe, who was involved with the New Jersey insurance and trucking business. Between 2018 and 22, Bob and Nadine Menendez began accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes from all of these businessmen. The bribes consisted of gold, cash, a luxury convertible, Nadine's home mortgage payments, compensation for a low or no-show job for Nadine Menendez, home furnishings, and other valuables. In June of 2022, the FBI issued a search warrant for Nadine and Bob Menendez's residence in New Jersey. During the search, the officials came across multiple items related to bribery schemes, including gold, cash, a luxury convertible, and home furnishings. Around $480,000 in cash was found in envelopes, clothes, and closets. A safe, possibly Nadine Menendez's safety deposit box, held around $70,000 in cash. Some of the envelopes contained Davies' DNA, or that of his driver. Other envelopes were hidden in the pockets of jackets with the name Menendez. Apart from the cash envelopes, the officials also found home furnishings given by Hannah and Davies, a luxury vehicle financed by Uribe parking in the home's garage, and gold bars worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, either given by Hannah or Davies. These corrupt relationships led Menendez to take part in illegal actions by abusing and selling his influence.
New details are emerging in the case against Senator Bob Menendez and his wife. Court documents filed by federal prosecutors reveal more about the search of their home in New Jersey. Investigators revealing, get this, in the basement of Menendez and Nadine Menendez's residence, on top of a large rack of clothes, hangers, were two bags, each containing large amounts of cash, potentially approximately $100,000 per bag.
Just after Nadine started dating Menendez, she began executing her plan. Hannah, with the help of Nadine, arranged Menendez's meetings with Egyptian intelligence and military officials. These meetings resulted in corrupt deals, with Hannah paying bribes to both Nadine and Menendez, with the assistance of Davies and Uribe. Menendez, in return, aided the Egyptian government as well as Hannah. He offered sensitive and private U.S. government information to Egyptian officials, aside from secretly benefiting the Egyptian government. Once, in May 2018, Menendez offered the total number and nationality of members working at the U.S. Embassy located in Cairo, Egypt. Without informing his department or his officials about his intentions, Menendez shared this sensitive information with his then-girlfriend Nadine Menendez, who shared it with Hannah, and Hannah shared it with an Egyptian government official. According to U.S. officials, this information might not be top secret. However, it could be used to cause harm and raise serious security issues.
The indictment alleges that Senator Menendez used his power and influence, including his leadership role on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, to benefit the government of Egypt in various ways.
During this same month, Menendez also ghostwrote a letter for Egypt to other U.S. senators to free up $300 million in aid to Egypt. He sent this letter to Nadine, who forwarded it to Hannah, and it ended up in the systems of Egyptian officials. Between 2018 and 22, Menendez spoke to Egyptian officials through Hannah, Nadine, or Davies, and said he would withdraw the restrictions on foreign military financing and sales of military weapons to Egypt, using his position in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, or SFRC. Once in July 2018, Menendez met with Egyptian officials in the presence of Hannah and Nadine Menendez, and later texted Nadine that he was going to finalize a $1 million weapons sale to Egypt. Nadine then forwarded this message to Hannah, who forwarded it further to the Egyptian officials, and one of the officials responded with a thumbs up emoji. Over the next few years, Menendez kept up these same conversations with the Egyptian officials and Hannah. As of January 2022, Menendez texted Nadine a link to an article mentioning 2 pending foreign military sales to Egypt, worth around $2.5 million. Nadine forwarded this link to Hannah with the text, "Bob had to sign off on this." In return, Hannah promised to compensate Nadine and Menendez fairly through his company ISEG Halal, which Davies financially supported. Despite generating almost no revenue until 2019, ISEG Halal received a monopoly from the Egyptian government to certify U.S. food exports as halal. Hannah and his company had no experience with halal certification. The monopoly Hannah received paid off the promised compensation to Menendez and Nadine. In 2019, Hannah and Uribe presented an offer to buy Nadine and Menendez a new Mercedes-Benz C300 convertible, priced at more than $60,000. Menendez accepted the offer, but in return agreed to interfere with the NJAG's prosecution of an insurance fraud case against an associate of Uribe and an investigation of a Uribe employee. Throughout 2019, Uribe, Hannah, and Nadine kept Menendez updated on the NJAG's insurance fraud prosecution. Menendez later reached out to a senior state prosecutor at the NJAG's office, known as Official 2, who was also looking into the case and investigation. During their meetings, Menendez attempted to convince Official 2 to shift the case in favor of the defendant. However, Official 2 found Menendez's demands inappropriate and refused to help him. Even so, the case was closed with a plea deal without any jail time. As a result, Uribe's employee was not charged with any offenses.
Second, the indictment alleges that Senator Menendez used his power and influence to try to disrupt a criminal investigation and prosecution undertaken by the New Jersey Attorney General's office related to an associate and a relative of Uribe.
After meeting Uribe's demands, Nadine Menendez was given $15,000 as a down payment for the luxury vehicle. Following the big purchase, Nadine texted Menendez, "Congratulations, mon amour de la vie. We are the proud owners of a 2019 Mercedes." Uribe kept clearing monthly payments for this vehicle between 2019 and 2022. He stopped clearing monthly payments only when he, alongside Menendez and Nadine Menendez, were approached by the FBI for investigation. Senator Menendez faced multiple charges of 16 counts, including bribery, extortion, acting as a foreign agent, obstruction of justice, and several counts of conspiracy. His trial began in May 2024, and Senator Menendez had pleaded not guilty, as did Nadine, whose trial was delayed due to her breast cancer diagnosis. Menendez chose not to testify in his defense, claiming that the prosecutors couldn't prove his bribery case fully. His lawyers argued that the gifts he had received weren't bribes, since the prosecutors failed to demonstrate that they were. Additionally, Menendez's lawyers shifted the attention and blame toward Nadine Menendez, claiming that she was financially troubled and hoped to get cash and assets any way she could. Prosecutors in turn used expert testimony, emails, and Menendez's text messages exchanged between the businessmen and him or Nadine to prove that Menendez did accept lavish gifts as bribes. They even presented some of the gold bars to jurors during the trial. One of Senator Menendez's former close friends, Philip Selinger, who is now a U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey, testified against him. Selinger claimed that he had frequently spoken to Senator Menendez about a bank fraud case involving Fred Davies. Prior to becoming a U.S. attorney, Senator Menendez told Selinger that Davies was being treated unfairly and hoped that if Selinger became U.S. attorney, Selinger, would look at it carefully. However, the next day, Attorney Selinger told Senator Menendez that he wouldn't be qualified to interfere in Davies' case after becoming an attorney. That day became the last time they spoke to each other. Senator Menendez's sister, Caridad Gonzalez, testified in his defense. She said that as Cuban immigrants, their father opposed relying on banks to deposit money. Gonzalez said it wasn't surprising when her brother asked her to bring $500 from a shoebox in a bedroom closet back in the 1980s. It was normal. It was a Cuban thing. After deliberating for 12.5 hours, the jurors reached a verdict and found Senator Menendez guilty of all charges. Will Hanna, who was detained at New York's Kennedy Airport after returning to the U.S. from Egypt voluntarily to face the charges against him, was also tried and found guilty on all charges. Jose Uribe, on the other hand, pleaded guilty and testified against Menendez, Hanna, and Davies during the trial. The trial, which began in May, lasted for about 9 weeks before the jurors came up with a verdict. Nadine Menendez is scheduled to stand trial later this year due to her breast cancer treatment. Amid all the investigations and allegations, Menendez faced backlash from fellow Democrats, including New Jersey Democrat Cory Booker, who asked Menendez to resign from his position. While Menendez openly disregarded their requests and refused to leave office, he did not announce whether he will run for re-election.
If he refuses to do that, many of us, and I will lead that effort to make sure that he's removed from the Senate.
In response, Menendez denied all the allegations against him and said he didn't commit any crimes. He worked as every senator would. He further claimed that the cash found in his residence was all from his savings, which he kept at home for emergencies. Following his conviction, Senator Menendez spoke to reporters while exiting the courthouse, saying, "I never violated my public oath. I have always been a patriot of my country and for my country."
I violated my public oath. I have never been anything but a patriot of my country and for my country.
Judge Sidney Stein will likely sentence Senator Menendez alongside Hanna, Davies, and Uribe on October 29th. Senator Menendez might face up to 222 years in prison for all the charges he's convicted of.
This is a big deal, a huge fall from Grace. He will be sentenced October 29th and could get decades in jail.